The story of Sacco and Vanzetti. On April 15, 1920, a paymaster, Frederick Parmenter, and his guard, Alessandro Berardelli, were carrying a total of $15,776 for a shoe factory's payroll through the main streets of South Braintree, Massachusetts, a small industrial town south of Boston. Two men standing by a fence suddenly pulled out guns and fired at them, killing them. The gunmen snatched up the boxes of cash and jumped into a waiting car and fled the scene. The car then was found 3 days later in a wooded area. 3 weeks later, on the evening of May 5, 1920, two Italians, Nicola Sacco, a shoemaker, and Bartolomeo Vanzetti, a fishmonger, fell into a police trap that had been set for a suspect in the Braintree crime. Although both men weren't originally under suspicion, both men were carrying guns at the time of their arrest, and when questioned by the authorities, they lied. As a result, they were held and eventually indicted for the South Braintree crimes. Vanzetti was also charged with an earlier hold-up attempt that took place on December 24, 1919, in the nearby town of Bridgewater. Despite a strongly supported alibi, Vanzetti was found guilty. Most of the witnesses were Italians who spoke poor English, and their testimony failed to convince the American jury. Vanzetti's case had also been damaged greatly when he, for fear of revealing his radical activities, did not take the stand to defend himself. After a hard-fought 6-week trial, the jury found Sacco and Vanzetti guilty of robbery and murder on July 14, 1921. However, this verdict marked only the beginning of a lengthy legal struggle to save the two men, extending until 1927. During this time, the defense lawyer, Fred H. Moore, made many separate motions, appeals, and petitions to both state and federal courts in an attempt to gain a new trial. Presented in those motions were evidence of illegal activities by the police and the federal authorities, a confession to the Braintree crimes by convicted bank robber Celestino Medeiros, and evidence that identified the gang involved in the Braintree crime as the notorious Morelli gang. But all were ruled on and rejected by Judge Webster Thayer, the same judge that sentenced Vanzetti. On April 9, 1927, after the Massachusetts court had failed, Sacco and Vanzetti were sentenced to death. Public agitation on their behalf by radicals, workers, immigrants, and Italians had become international, and many demonstrations in the world's great cities, Paris, London, Mexico City, and Buenos Aires, protested the unfairness of their trial. Sadly, Sacco and Vanzetti were executed on August 23, 1927, losing their fight but changing the way justice was looked at.